What's up guys, Cliff here from the Sunday Drive, and today we have the long-awaited update on my 2014 Silverado. We're gonna tell you what's been going on with that and answer all your questions, or most of them, I hope. So if you guys have been watching the channel for any length of time, you know that we deleted the active fuel management system from this 2014 Silverado that's sitting behind me. No, we did not sell it, it's still here. Last 6 months, you guys have been asking, did you sell it? Did you blow it up? Where are the dyno results? We are getting them to you guys, not to fear, and today we're gonna be explaining what's been going on with it and why we haven't posted that video yet. It was actually pretty funny when we posted our Skyjacker lift series a couple months ago. A few of you thought I had sold this and moved on to a 2016 Silverado, and I'm just gonna leave you guys hanging without ever finishing up that series. Don't worry, wouldn't do that to you guys. We are gonna finish it. That was my buddy's 2016 Silverado we worked on, and we actually shot that last year. But it took so much time to edit it, we didn't really have time until the COVID kind of shut everything down. So we were stuck at home and we finally got to finish editing that series. So that's the story with that truck. Here's the story with this truck. So before we get into the nitty gritty, let's explain why this video has taken so long to get to you guys. This space that we're shooting in probably looks very familiar, and that's because we've been filming in this garage a lot of our videos over the last 1.5 to 2 years. And this was actually rented by my buddy. He owns Keys Motorsports, and this was his shop. He was renting it at the time, and now we're renting it. If you watched our last video, we kind of did a reveal of the new shop that we got. So this is now our shop, but when we were filming the DOD AFM delete, we were piggybacking off of basically the time he wasn't using the shop. So we'd come in here at nights, on the weekends, and do as much as we could, but it made filming this series take a long time because there was a lot of pieces, a lot of parts. We had to push the truck out. We were towing it in and out with Pete's truck so that the main bay was clear for when he had customers come in. And as you can imagine, that added a lot of time to the filming process. It took us about 3 months to get everything filmed that you ultimately saw in the series that we uploaded. So we put the motor in, we started it up, and it sounded like this. That is definitely not the sound that we were going for. That is the sound we were trying to avoid by doing this. So the reason that we're doing this whole delete is 1, to make content for you guys, 2, to make a little bit more power, but the main reason was to make sure that I would never have failed lifters in this truck, at least not in a short time frame. And as we all know, the AFM lifters are very prone to failure. And when they fail, it sounds exactly like my truck sounds right now. We got the truck running, we drove it around a little bit, hoping that the lifters needed to pump up, but that didn't help. So we started doing some investigating. I brought in a couple buddies that had done a lot of motor builds. They did some, they looked over everything. They watched the videos that we did, and like, you did everything 100%. One of my buddies actually did this exact same kit on his 2016 Silver Camaro. And he's like, you did everything the exact same way I did, and I had no problem. So you guys did everything right. There's just something going on. One of the pieces you put in is wrong or failed, so we need to figure out what that is. So at that time, COVID kind of hit. So everything kind of ground to a halt. I have asthma, so I was a little worried about being here in the shop because Brian has an automotive business, which was exempted from a lot of the closure rules. And having asthma, I just was a little concerned about being in here. A lot of things were unknown about it at the time. So I decided just to let the truck sit for a few months until things kind of settled down. During that time, Brian decided to move to a bigger shop. So we ultimately took over his lease here, and we are now renting this. This is ours. So he moved and we got to move back in. And at the same time, we took over all his installation work. So this was in the late May timeframe. We actually opened up a new business and we took all the installation work for Keys Motorsports. So now we had a lot more things to keep track of. We had to get parts, we had to outfit this shop with the tools that we would need. So the last few months we've been doing that since May, and we're in a pretty good spot right now. We have most of the tools and stuff we need, and we have a steady stream of customers coming in that Keys refers over to us. So it's a good symbiotic relationship, but it has made us very, very busy. So even though we're back in the shop and we have our own space now, we haven't had time to finish this truck up, and we've still been trying to get video series out to you guys on a weekly basis. And we were trying to hold off on publishing this video until we knew exactly what was wrong and had a solution for it. But it's been so long, I didn't want to keep waiting just in case it takes us another month or two to finish this truck up. So what is going on and what we discovered so far? So as you heard, the truck is definitely not sounding right. Now we've driven the truck. It's probably run for like 5 hours, just all the different times we've idled it, let it idle while I've been trying to identify the sound. We picked up an automotive stethoscope. We've listened all around the truck. And what we've ultimately found is there are 2 clicks on cylinders 5 and 6, one of the intake ports and one of the exhaust ports. And we think it is either a valve that isn't seating fully, or one of the springs is bad. Now these heads were pre-assembled, so if that is the case, it's not something we would have been able to catch ahead of time. Now it is potential that those 2 lifters are bad. We've checked everything else that we can think of. The push rod lengths are correct. We verified that. We have the right amount of preload. Verified that the torque converter is seated fully. Nothing came loose there and is clicking. A lot of troubleshooting on this, really trying to figure it out, making sure that we had the timing set correctly. We went back and watched a lot of the videos that we put together for you guys, just watching step by step what we did, and couldn't really find any mistakes. So now we're at the point where we have a dial gauge, and we're going to be checking the lift of each one of the cam lobes in case something was ground wrong with the cam. And we picked up a spring compressor, so we're going to move the springs over where we hear the sounds coming from and see if that sound follows the spring, because then maybe we have a bad spring. And we're also going to check the lifter to see if there's any play in the lifter once we have that spring out of there. So we definitely have some investigating to do on this, and as soon as we do figure out what's wrong, we will have an update video for you guys to explain what we discovered in case you run into this problem, because obviously whatever happened to us could happen to you, and we want these videos to be helpful to the broader community. So we hope that we can shed some light into what issues going on here. And if you guys have any suggestions or comments about what you think the problem could be, definitely leave them down below. We've stumped a few people. We've been talking to Guatney. We've checked every single thing that they've suggested. We've checked everything that our friends have suggested that are very familiar with building motors, and everything has checked out so far. Now we do have those 2 clicks that we just identified a few days ago after turning the motor over by hand very carefully. I'll put down in the description exactly what issues we're hearing with those clicks, and maybe somebody can help us identify what might be going on. Once we're done filming this, we're actually going to get in there and, like I said, check the cam lobes, see how much lift we have on those exhaust and intake ports, and then also check those springs. So by the end of the day, we might have a little bit more information, but we wanted to give you guys an update. This is what's been going on with the Silverado. We definitely are going to dyno it as soon as we get everything working and figured out, and get that series out to you and finish. We still have the intake to put in. I also have the torque converter, the 6L90 torque converter I put in there. Everything seems to be working with that, but I haven't really gotten to drive the truck, so I want to make sure there are no issues with that, and then we will upload that 6L90 torque converter install. We have the 6.2 intake manifold we're going to put on here. We have so many other things that have just been kind of sitting on hold with this truck because we haven't had the time to really diagnose this motor. So we'll figure out what's going on. We'll have an update for you guys very soon, I hope. I want to get this truck back on the road before the winter time, or I'm going to be driving the XJ again. So thank you guys so much for bearing with us with this. As always, we will try to still have videos coming out every week, and we are working on this truck. We hope to have it done soon. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here next time.